Alright, this is our second video here for Chapter 1, Lesson 8 on the coordinate plane. This is for the midpoint formula. The midpoint formula lets us find and use the midpoint of a line segment. The coordinates for a midpoint M of the line segment AB that has endpoints A and B is the following. The midpoint is equal to the x-coordinate is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and the y-coordinate is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So we're going to use this in two different ways. I'll show you the first way is just to find the midpoint. So let's say that we have QS, line segment QS, and that has endpoints 3, 5, and 7, negative 9. And we want to find the coordinates of the midpoint M. Alright, so what we're going to do with this then is we're going to use our midpoint formula. So we know that the x-coordinate is going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and the y-coordinate is going to be y1 plus y2 divided by 2. It makes sense. It's halfway in between the 2 points. So our first x was 3. Our second x was 7. So it's 3 plus 7 divided by 2. And then our first y was 5. Plus our second y is negative 9. All divided by 2. So here we're going to get 3 plus 7, which is 10 over 2. 5 plus negative 9 is going to be negative 4 over 2. And so our coordinate for our midpoint is going to be 5, negative 2. That's it. Done. Smiley face. Yay! But we can also use the midpoint formula if we want to find the coordinates of an endpoint. So let's say that they give us the midpoint this time. So the midpoint of line segment AB is 3, 4. One endpoint is negative 3, negative 2. We want to find the coordinates of our other endpoints. So we're going to have to do the midpoint formula kind of twice. And here's why. So to find the coordinates of our endpoint, let's say that I want to find the x-coordinates. Well, we're going to have to do that problem once for the x-coordinate. And it's going to look like this. Our midpoint for the x-coordinate was the x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And then the midpoint for the y-coordinate is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Now, what do we know from this? Well, we know for the x-coordinate, we know that one of our endpoints was 3, so we're going to put that in there. Yes. And then we also know that one of the points to find the midpoint was negative 3. And we don't know this one. So I'm just going to call this x2. All divided by 2. Over here, we know that the y-coordinate for the midpoint was 4. We know one of the y-coordinates that we used to find the midpoint was negative 2. And we don't know the other y-coordinate. So now we're going to solve for y2. Got to get rid of this fraction, so we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So we get 6 is negative 3 plus x2. Here we got to multiply both sides by 2, so we get 8 is equal to negative 2 plus y2. And then just solve for each. Add 3 to both sides, so x2 is 9. Add 2 to both sides, y2 is 10. So that gives us our coordinate for the other endpoint is 9, 10. Boom. That's how we can use the midpoint formula.